we are never going to heal. We're never going to actually heal. Like, like, that's the world that we live in right now. That has to change. It has to change. So much to say, you know? Yeah, I was talking to someone last night, and we were talking about life. I look at you or the camera? Doesn't matter. You're better to like talk to. I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and we were talking about how difficult life is. And we were talking about wounds and pains from childhood that we walk around with every single day. And we think that those wounds don't affect us. It's a lie. They do. They 100% do. The truth is, though, that as much as they impact us negatively, they also have the potential to grow us exponentially in the positive direction of our life and our soul's dreams. That's why that pain is there. But there wasn't the realization that, oh, if I go towards this pain, I'm not going to just feel more pain. I'm actually going to feel more freedom and liberation and truth and wholeness. And what we're doing instead of that is we're living in a world of illusion. Much of this world is all an illusion. It's created from a tiny box that we live in within our minds, within our hearts, that we create control around. We try to feign certainty around because we think that on the other side, into the unknown, is danger. But we think it's danger because we are coming from a place of woundedness. So what we do is we find external things to fill us up. But we're filling into a pitless void because the things we're filling it with have no actual meaning to our souls. We look towards money and capitalism and things to buy to fulfill who we think we are. And capitalism in this world, and this is no fault of any one person, it's just where we're at in our evolution, don't get me wrong, right? But it is time to grow beyond how much money do you make, what do you do for work, like what are those external metrics of success that we have learned to rely on, but not in a way that fulfills us, right? There's a theory out there by this person from Oxford University, and he's coined the philosophical approach called long-termism, right? So as when I left my PhD, I was doing a lot of research into how to help the world awake to truth and to dispel this idea of illusion. And I came across his name, William McCaskill, I believe his name is, and he coined the idea of long-termism, which is essentially the idea is that we have to think generations ahead so that our generations for the futures are secured, that their lives, their livelihood, the earth itself is able to be around to provide for us. And he did research, anthropological research, sociological research, and what he found when he was studying the evolution of human history, he discovered that in terms of our progress in our evolution, we are only 1% of the way in to our evolutional potential, right? We have 99% of the way to go. That means we're babies, right? We are just getting started. So when we think of like, why is the world this way? Well, racism still exists. Wasn't that long ago that the civil rights movement was happening in the United States. Homophobia is still very much present. So many communities are under attack. That's because we haven't progressed so far into our evolution where when we experienced slavery and those things, they were really active not too long ago. It's because we're not very far along into our sociological development. And the key for us to be able to progress forward is the inward journey. It is the healing journey. So for those people who feel like they're stuck, who feel like they're walking around and they're experiencing the same types of relationships, the same fights with the people around them in their world, the feeling of not enoughness, all of those feelings happen when you are stuck in a world in which you haven't gone inward to experience the truth of your soul. And the way inward is healing. But all of the potential that people are really yearning for, right? The life that they want to build with of their dreams, where they feel fulfilled and they walk into life feeling light and free, unencumbered by stress, by the burdens that plague them. Well, they don't realize that the only way to remove those wounds is to step into the unknown. You have to do different things, experience new aspects of life to learn new skills about yourself, to learn new aspects of your identity, and to step into truth. What is your unique truth? I get so fired up about it because we just got it wrong. We have the world as it is right now. Again, it's not a judgment, but we have it wrong. When we think of the medical model, when we think of the disease model, we are literally categorizing the symptoms of our dis-ease within our body as parts of our identity. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how wild that is? That we identify with all these physical health disorders, all these mental health disorders, but all they are, based on how we categorize them, are symptoms of our pain, of our deeper pain. But if we only categorize them based on symptoms, and then we have treatment modalities that then only treat symptoms, we are never going to heal. We're never going to actually heal. Like that's the world that we live in right now. That has to change. It has to change. We have to come to the realization that the more that we want is more on the inside that we're afraid to go towards. It takes compassion. It takes resilience. It takes love. It takes community. It takes not feeling alone. It takes reducing the things that numb us to the pain that we're feeling, and slowly, little by little, getting into nature, experiencing the beauty and the sacredness that is this life, and discovering that you are magic too. That you are part of this world in a way that you have yet to discover. You have yet to discover it. And it's on the other side. And it's waiting for you. It's that call within you that's beckoning you forward, that's saying, come closer. Come closer. That is your soul calling you to more. To more. To more love, to more freedom, to more forgiveness. You are not wrong. You do not deserve the shame that you carry. Everything in this world is by design, your pain included. And you have to start to see that your trauma is an adaptation to life. Your depression is evolutionarily hardwired into your being because you need more rest. You need recovery. Your anxiety comes from fear. Where is that root of that fear coming from? We don't have to judge the anxiety. You don't have to label yourself as anxious, but you have to understand that how you've learned to cope in life, whether that looks like depression, anxiety, a personality disorder, whatever it might be, those are just how you have learned to cope with life's hardship. That makes you so wise. That makes you beautifully adaptive to a very difficult world. But the truth is, you're not those things. You just learn to cope to difficulty in that way. But that means that if you've learned to cope to difficulty in that way, then there's the equal and opposite reaction and the path towards healing and rejuvenation, where you don't have to live with those things in your life anymore. I've experienced complex PTSD, religious trauma, sexual abuse, anxiety, PTSD, major depressive disorder, chronic health disorders. I don't have any of those things plaguing me anymore. I don't take any pills for it. I have. There's no judgment. I have. But healing is possible when you turn towards your body. You regulate your nervous system. You find belonging. You start to de-shame yourself and realize, oh, the way that I controlled people in my life was me seeking help and support and getting love from someone else. The way I manipulated other people, the way that I morphed myself into being a certain type of way was to keep myself safe because that's the only way I knew how to do it from childhood. There's a reason for everything. You're not a bad person. You're not a bad person. That doesn't exist. You're a hurt person who needs to find love and compassion and truth. That's what we're all looking for. That's what we're all looking for. It's time that we find our way. It's time that we find our way. Together. It's possible. And I'm ready to help lead the way. I'm ready now.